Why do many of the nationalities believe this election to be undemocratic?
I would say this is an apartheid elections where many millions of ethnic people will not be able to vote. Rohingya and other Muslims denied citizenship and they can't vote, and many people in ethnic areas cannot vote because of conflict or not being recognized by the government. The head of military chooses 25% of MPs instead of voters. Burma constitution is not democratic. But on top of that, the civilian government is making the election even less democratic, I should say.
Okay. My second question, how can an election be considered democratic while there is civil war across large parts of the country? How can an election take place in Arakan state, in a situation of conflict with hundreds of thousands of refugees fleeing their homes?
You know, conflict in Arakan state does make safe voting impossible in some places, but the way voting was cancelled is inconsistent and benefits to Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD's party. The conflict in Arakan state is, you know, being caused by the military and the government, I should say, also the government, you know, who refused to hold unconditional peace talk with Arakan army, and instead they are trying to rule the bullet instead of the ballot.
Okay, could you say maybe the current situation in how many communities, townships, the voting has been cancelled until today?
In Arakan state, many townships were not allowed to vote and now to be a member of parliament. By showing that there is military conflict going within Burmese military and Arakan army, but it is, I should say, this is just for benefit to NLD party. This is not really true.
Okay, the question number 3. Why were candidates for the elections in Arakan state excluded on the sole grounds that their children were allegedly involved with separatist movements? Isn't that a form of what Germans would call Sippenhaft? Sippenhaft is a collective responsibility of all family members for the actions of a few. What sort of notion of democracy does that imply?
Actually, the government is using, you know, any excuse to try to stop opponents standing for election. If it wasn't using the excuse for their children activities, they would just find something else. That's what I can see.
Okay. Question number 4. Why has the NLD under Aung San Suu Kyi lost so much of its support among the nationalities? Aung San Suu Kyi said that putting an end to the wars in the nationality areas was her priority. Why has she failed to achieve that?
Many ethnic people become more delusioned by Aung San Suu Kyi, but in areas away from conflict, she still has a lot of support. She is still widely admired in the country. Even in many ethnic states, she is seen as the best alternative to the military. You know, Aung San Suu Kyi said she wanted to bring peace to Burma, but she wanted was peace in her terms, not a process to give ethnic people the rights and autonomy they want. In any case, if even she had genuine tensions, you know, she does not control the military, and the military wage war while taking peace. Conflict has increased since the peace process began. Rohingya one, I would say, you know, Rohingya were not allowed to be member. Like myself, my grandfather was a member of parliament, you know, I was not recognized as a citizen, even though Rohingya have right to vote, a right to be member of parliament since 1933 until 2010, you know.
Yes.
But under NLD government, today, under NLD government, this 2020 election, the first time in under democratic government, we are, you know, under NLD government, where internationally under of Aung San Suu Kyi leadership, we are not allowed. We are not allowed. Rohingyas are not allowed to vote and not allowed to be member of parliament. This is very historic in Burma history. You know, this can bring much more worse situation for the Rohingya and other minorities in Burma, because international community is not speaking up. Instead, like UK and EU and other US and other countries is support funding to UEC, Union Election Commission, which is a racist commission, I should say, and they are not allowed to. UEC is undemocratic, it's a racist commission, and not allowing Rohingyas and other minorities. When I visited to the camp, the first thing what I heard is from the genocide survivors is unitedly one voice. We want justice. We want justice. That is the message I heard from many genocide survivors when I visited to the Cox's Bazar refugee camps many times. Genocide survivors were told me, please, we want justice. Please help us to get justice in from international community. So ICJ case filed by Gambia is very encouraging. Something is moving forward, but it is the Gambia is very a small country. This case will go much longer term. So we really appreciate Netherlands and Canada joining with Gambia to support these justice matters for the Rohingya. Same time, Germany can play a key role by joining Gambia to support justice for the Rohingya. We need a stronger support on that ICJ case, International Court of Justice, where Gambia filed. And Argentina case, Burmese Rohingya organization UK, I visited to Buenos Aires in last November. I filed the case on behalf of Burmese Rohingya organization UK. And that is very widespread. The universal jurisdiction case is very widespread case. We focus on much more human rights violations and serious atrocities, mass killings happen to Rohingya people in especially Tula Tuli, Mongnu village in Butidang, Tula Tuli in Maundo, and Gudaping in Butidang township, and many places. Rohingya been slaughtered. Many Rohingya were slaughtered by Burmese military. Thousands of Rohingya women been raped, and thousands of Rohingya children been burned, hundreds of Rohingya children been burnt alive. So we want justice for these atrocities committed by Burmese military. So our case where our organization, where our Burmese Rohingya organization filed case in Argentina will be much more broader. So we would like to see more universal jurisdiction case in other countries, particularly in Germany. There is a chance we can file a case in Germany, universal jurisdiction case. We should use all avenues to bring justice for the Rohingya genocide survivors.
Yes. Could you tell me how many people are in Europe, Rohingya people?
I can say about a few thousands Rohingya people are in Europe.
And the most of them are in Great Britain, or where? In which countries?
In Ireland, in United Kingdom, in Netherlands, and also Denmark, and a few, some in Germany, Switzerland. Maybe I can say what a difference 5 years can make. In 2015, many of my fellow Rohingya people cheered as the party of famed opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi won a landslide victory in Myanmar's first democratic elections of the 21st century, bringing an end to decades of outright military rule. Euphoria reigned. We hope not only for a new beginning for the country, but also for an end to the oppression against us. Today, as Myanmar gears up for another election on Sunday, the situation is starkly different. 3 years ago, Aung San Suu Kyi, now the country's de facto head of state, stood by as military leaders launched brutal, genocide that killed thousands of Rohingya and drove more than 700,000 across the border into Bangladesh, where they now languish in immense refugee camp. The roughly 500,000 who remain in the country have been effectively disenfranchised. They are denied access to Myanmar's democracy simply because of who they are. Thank you.